All right, we are live. Welcome to the live stream. It's Wednesday, April 2nd. I am going to adjust this camera here. We're a little bit tired. Need to do some stretching or something, some push-ups. Yeah, I'm gonna do some push-ups. Hold on, BRB, guys. I'm getting full extension on these. I just want to let you know when we go all the way down. I don't. It's not April Fools anymore, so like I don't have anything planned for you to do April Fools. This is bright. All right, that's better. Looking a little too crisp here in HD. I don't. Long ago were the days where we got a little makeup, when there was a makeup team before we said action. So anyway, it's the day after April Fools. Hope you didn't fall for anything yesterday. I did not fall for anything yesterday. Here, my dog is falling for it right now because there's nobody there at the door, I promise. So anyway, I was very mindful. I was very demure because I had to explain to my kindergartner constantly what April Fools was. And he was like, so you're lying? I'm like, yeah, essentially. Yeah, it felt like a similar conversation I had with the older kids when we had the Santa conversation, the Easter, you know. There's a betrayal of trust that happens there. And I'm not sure it's worth the holiday magic after all of these years, to be honest. I'm not sure I ever got that back with the oldest. I'm not sure if we ever got the trust back. Anyway, I did really try to say it was funny, and that wasn't lying. Um, anyway, since I kept telling him about it, it was top of mind. I'm not so sure my dog is going to stop. He's not the brightest, and he likes to bark. So, let's see. All right. Oh yeah. So I did see an April Fool's post on Instagram when I got on, and it was that they were canceling all the PRs and the PBs from before 2017 because of all the super shoes. They just ruled them out. And but I saw it and I was like, oh, okay, that's the best you got. That's the best you got. My son wouldn't even, my 6-year-old wouldn't even fall for that one. So, and by the way, guys, this live stream, if you're new here, it's not me trying to be a live streamer or anything, or just stream my life, but it's just a placeholder for the Kafuzi Run Club live stream. That's it, to fill the void left in the universe. Anyway, it did get me thinking. I thought this is a funny story, and I'll probably never share it. So I'm going to share it with you guys because why not? The best one, the one that I fell for the most, because like I act all tough right now, like I didn't fall for any April Fools right now, but I fell for it in 2008. This is I got a buddy, and he's a natural April Foolers. His name is Derek. He does like gag bits pretty regularly. So this was like 2008, and he comes in with all these scratch offs. Now, the gag part of the scratch offs is the ticket has a $10,000 winner, right? And then when you read the back to redeem it, it roasts you basically, and it tells you how gullible and stupid you are for believing that you would actually win $10,000. Nobody wins the 10,000. Anyway, quite hilarious. So now he's a smart guy. He knew that if he came in and he handed me a singular scratch off, I would be onto it, and I would be like, dude, I'm not falling for that. So he was smart. He bought 4 regular $1 tickets along with the fake $10,000 card. So I started scratching it, and then I won. I won like $5. Like, oh, I won $5. He's like, oh, really? He's like, oh, that's cool, man. Great. Yeah. And then I won $1, and he's like, nice, nice. Then I win $20. I win $20. These are all on the real ones. And he's starting to get pissed, right? And I'm thinking I'm thinking he's like, what? Oh, get out. Like I'm thinking he's upset because he bought them for me. He bought them for people in the office, and then we're winning, right? And he's like, really? You $20? And then, of course, I scratch off the 10,000 and, I get really excited and he's excited. And he's like, how do you redeem that? Like, that's crazy. I've never even thought about it. Like, so I'm like, I don't know. Let me read the back. And then I read the back and it's roasting me in the details. Hook, line, and sinker. Fell for it. But I did pay it forward. Sean Devlin's in here. Says, good afternoon. What's up, Sean? Hope you're I saw that your run walk is no longer walking. We're just running. That's good news. That's good. Keep on continuing. I'm loving it. And then I think I read you weren't sleeping well. Same. My wife is like this morning, she's like, hey, but if we live in Buffalo, if we move to Buffalo, then we're close to Canada. And I was like, Seattle. Seattle's like closer to Vancouver. Like if we go over, then I want to go to Ontario. I think it's Ontario. It's over there. Anyway, so this April Fool's thing, I take this scratch off. I go out, I buy a few, and then Jen Fo comes in, right? Poor Jen Fo. And she goes through the same thing. She didn't win, and I think maybe she won one of them, won $1 back. But then she hits the 10K one. She hits the 10K and loses it. She loses her mind. Like I went over to her and I grabbed her hands and I started jumping up and down, and she's jumping up and down. And she's like, oh my God. Like you would think that she won 100,000, $1,000,000. Like she won the Mega Millions, right? And then she doesn't want to read the back. She just is like, this goes on for like 5 to 10 minutes. And then she's like telling us, me and Derek, all the things that she's going to do with the $10,000. She's going to pay off her car. She's going to move to LA. She starts planning out her entire life. And I say this laughing, like I felt bad genuinely at the time. It's like, dude, this is going to hit her like a semi truck. So my buddy, of course, there he lives for this shit. He's like, how do you even redeem it? Why don't you just read the back? So she starts reading the back, and this poor girl, it took her so long to understand that it was April Fool's and that she had fallen for this. And that money, it was already in her bank account here. It was never going to get into her bank account. Jenfo fell into a depression. It's 2025. I'm not sure she ever came out. It hit her pretty hard. I felt really bad. This is why legitimately my 6-year-old was probably onto something. And he's like, you're just lying. Is it mean? Like, I don't understand how that's funny. Can you explain it to me? Because I was like, yeah, so, you tell your teacher, we don't have school. And then April Fool's. Right. And then he's like, but we do have school. And he doesn't have he doesn't have a bit of the tism. He doesn't. But like a few weeks ago, he's like, Dad, you know this song? Perfect pitch. Does not get it from me. He starts singing a song. See, I can't sing. And then I'm like, all I want for Christmas is you. Yeah, I like that. I like that song. Can you play that song? It's not anywhere near Christmas still, obviously. And I was like, yeah. And then, but he's like, Dad, why would she say that? I already have you, so why can't I have you and then also have presents? And I'm like, yeah, I get it. You make a lot of sense. So that's where he's at. He's not a big April Fool's guy. JBS is in here. He says, evening all. JBS, welcome. We're getting closer, 3 weeks away. When do you fly in to Boston? I signed up. I'm not always on the social medias. So I worry for Boston, you got to sign up for all of the pre-race activities in the events, to my knowledge. And I was kind of worried that I was going to miss out. So I don't keep up. But I saw a reel from Kafuzi, and it was like, here's this hoodie from this Rabbit collab. And by the way, in Boston, if you're running Boston, here's our shakeout. You can register. So I got on there and I registered. By the way, guys, if you're going to be in Boston, I'm planning on being both. Oh, the balloons are going again. Wow, I've gotta learn how that happens and why, because it's just a little treat every time I see balloons pop up on the come up from the I'm sure there's a thing. You would have think I would have figured this out in 2020 when everybody was Zooming. Anyway, in Boston, I'm gonna do this Rabbit Kofuzi shakeout. I did register, I did sign up. I'm also gonna probably, if it's not happening at the same time, I think I'm gonna hop into Believe in the Run shakeout. So if you want to come see me and say what's up, that's where I'll be. And then on my channel, I think it has like contact me. Like if you're gonna be there, just email me or like reach out and we can meet up. And if you see me out there running around, just like probably with a big smile on my face, like, oh my God, this is the most amazing thing. Even though I'm with my wife, she understands. Come up and talk to me, please. I want to say hi. I don't get out of the house much. I don't even make it out of the neighborhood most days, a lot of times, unless I'm going to work, picking up kids. So JBS says Friday night. Have a ticket for the Tracksmith event on the Friday, but I will be tired as I will stay up the extra 5 hours. Yeah, you got some jet lag. You get the extra day for Monday, but you're coming back. So if you go back 5 hours, there's a little bit. I think it's harder when you go forward. I'm not sure. I don't have a lot of EXP in this department with that. Yeah, I get in Friday night too. It's too late to do anything though. And then the flight got pushed already from mid-afternoon to later. So Jason Horner's in here. What's up, Jason? He says, speaking of Kafuzi, your 1K repeats today look strong. Thank you, Jason. Yeah, they were steamy. We're already there. We're already 70 degrees, 93% humidity, dew point. It gets worse. In the summer, it gets worse, but it's still drenched in sweat after the warm up kind of thing already. So lots of electrolytes. Try not to pay attention to the heart rate because that's naturally going to go up. Try to focus on the effort. And I think it was around 5:54 is the pace. I'm starting to get used to like what K repeats mean, and they were on average around 340. And I always just know 345 is 6-minute pace. So it's kind of around there. But when my watch beeps at me, I kind of set heart rate parameters. So it tells me, hey, you're in like 167 or 168 beats. I don't even know what my splits are until after. And then COROS does a little power number, which is nice because it's like, oh, okay, well, am I running with the same power? And I don't know how accurate it is because I don't have a tripod, but it's kind of good to know. Like, okay, I was consistent. That's what I'm trying to go for, consistency. And I don't know what it'll translate to. I'm just out there running. By the way, guys, when somebody tells you their Strava runs, or like, this is my training for the week, these were my splits. Is that equivalent to somebody telling you about their dream? Because I don't want to be that guy. Because never have I ever retained once a dream that somebody told me about. No clue. I got a pocket full of that's crazies ready to go. And that's usually when I pull them out. It's like, oh, what? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. That's crazy. That's crazy. It's crazy, bro. Still talking? Okay. That's and then it turned all right. So yeah, I don't know what Harry Potter was doing there. That's crazy. Crazy. What does it even mean? What does it even mean? I actually have a comedian friend, Jay Whitecotton. I do. I have friends. Okay. So I'm going to tell my wife I do have friends. And one of my favorite lines of his, one of my favorite jokes, he was like, shout out to MLK because he's the only guy to tell people about a dream he had and everybody listened. So it's there. Jen Piazza's in here. I just was reading something else. Piazza. Love the two Z's equal TS in Italian, guys, by the way. Like pizza, piazza, but for some reason when it's posa and not pazza. I don't know why, but She says, I'm also going to the Tracksmith event on Friday evening. I get into Boston Friday afternoon. See, Jen, I would try to make that, but I think my flight gets in so late that I'm not going to be able to make that. That makes me sad because then Saturday, I'm going to have to get it over there and get to the expo. Oh, my hair's a hot mess. To the expo when it's busy. But I mean, I guess that's whatever. It's going to be crowded the whole weekend, I'm sure. I ain't scared of no crowds. Philip Watts is in here. What's up, Philip? My run club had a fun run. Had fun for April Fools. Posted on their Facebook page. Town had made illegal to run with a watch. Awesome. Did anybody fall for it? Was anybody really upset? That's how you know you got somebody. And then they don't think it's funny when they've been had. Stevie76 is in here. Hi, Stevie. Got a Val Kilmer story? RIP. RIP Val. Oh, man, I didn't know Val Kilmer died. I told you I don't get on the socials. That's usually, I mean, maybe 10, 15 years ago, back when Facebook was the thing. That's how I found out when people died, celebrities. I do have a Val Kilmer story. Yeah. So in 2003, for all those who are listening who do not know, I'm a certified B actor from like all these parody movies and a bunch of stuff from I lived in LA in my 20s back in the day. And so I was friends with actually successful people as well. And so I have a friend who was on a show at the time, Gilmore Girls, and eventually Supernatural. And his brother was getting married in Vegas. And so we went to Vegas, like 10 dudes, just like, and I was excited to play poker. That's all I wanted to do. But his manager and some other people wanted to go to the Palms, some sweet, some party, whatever, because there was a Reno, Vegas, there was some sort of film festival happening around that same time. And so I was like, okay, guys, but like I never get to gamble legally. This was 2002 or three, and I wanted to play poker. So I got dragged to this party. And how they got us in, I don't know, because usually you have to have a lot of women with you or alcohol. I know it's LA or Vegas. I don't make the rules. It's just the way it is. And so I walk in. I think I've told this story once before, but I walk in and I see like Jack Nicholson, but he's got bodyguards. No one could talk to him. It's a suite. It's like a penthouse kind of thing. It's not too big. I see Dennis Hopper, Rip. I mean, he was around at the time. I was a big film snob when I was in the late 90s, mid 90s. I used to watch all those 70s movies and 60s movies. So like all these guys, I'm like, oh, holy shit. But then I see, and then Val Kilmer's there. Val Kilmer is there, and then Mario Lopez. And I just get so starstruck over Mario Lopez of all people because every day I came home, I watched Saved by the Bell. So it wasn't Mario Lopez, it was AC Slater, and then of course all of my other midlifer friends were all 21, 22, 23 at the time. We're just AC Slater, and then one of the guys goes to talk to him. He's like, hey, don't touch me. Like he's just a random stranger coming up to be like, oh bro, and anyway, he was respectful because I'd heard that Val Kilmer was kind of a dick. And so I didn't want to talk to him. And I just remember thinking, well, I came into this party thinking that Val Kilmer's a dick and Mario Lopez is really nice. And now it seems like Val Kilmer's really nice and Mario AC Slater's a dick. I I joke because this is 5 minutes in 22 years ago. So I'm sure they're all wonderful people, or in Val Kilmer's case, was a wonderful person. So I don't know. But that's the only run-in I ever had with Val Kilmer. They were just like passings a lot of times with people. So there wasn't like, oh yeah, got him on speed dial. What's up? Andrew Cho's in here. He says, "Hey Andrew, just me as your hair look different. Race day hair? Yeah, in this light, it doesn't look salt and pepper. It just kind of looks salty. It just looks like it's all gray. And then I wear a hat most of the time. I don't know why I'm not wearing a hat now because I'm not at work. So I really don't care. And then there's so many cowlicks, it just kind of goes wherever it goes, and I let it be. Love what is. Love is not controlling, and I love my hair, so we just let it go. Sean Devlin's here, and he says, "Iceman." I'm going to tell you that Top Gun remake, or that was the best movie that year. Maverick was such a great screenplay, and that's my roots. I didn't want to end up acting. I just ended up acting because it's like, okay, we're going to shoot this thing. All right, well, who's going to be in it? Okay, I'll be in it. All right, well, so Matthias Smintos is in here. He says, Mario Lopez, I've had a run-in with him at the arcade. How was that, Matthias? Was he a nice guy? Was he very approachable? He seems like a very nice guy. He probably is a very nice guy. It's just that a drunk stranger tried to come up to him and bro hug him. And he's probably like, hey, man, I got boundaries. So I understand that. Sean Devlin's in here. He says, Screech, R.I.P., rip. Yeah, Screech. I mean, it's weird because, people start dropping and then I start feeling my age. But then there's like another subset of eternal characters that never die in the celebrity world. And it makes me think like, I got to outlive 'em. Like, I got to keep going. Jack Nicholson, to be sure. I mean, he was there at that party. He looked the same as 1973. And then, even like About Schmidt came out in 2002 or three, and it's like his face on the movie cover, and he looks really old, and he still is old and looks the same. Woody Allen, Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, Clint Eastwood. I mean, now Clint Eastwood, I've seen recently some pictures. I mean, he's looking brittle. He's looking old. He's about 100, so it tracks. But I mean, pretty wild. But what I want to know is how's everyone else's running going? Tell me your dreams. Don't tell me your dreams, but you could tell me how your run went today, what you're training for, what are the goals, how it's going. So this isn't just like an hour long tangent into the early 2000s TMZ or whatever. TMZ is still around, I'm sure, but let's see. I'll look down some topics here. All right, Andrew Cho is in here. He says, easy run today. Tapering started. Fantastic. I've also started a taper. Last week, Frank was in here saying that he's messed with the 2-week, the 3-week. He's messed with the tapers, and he feels like he's never really figured it out. And I'm with him. I think it's the same thing. This time, I'm trying a 3-week taper, mostly because I don't want to get injured. But it's like slight, so it's 10% down this week. Still with the workout, naturally, still with a long run, but then next week down 20% total, and then we'll see. Because I'm worried about those hills. Having the legs. So the long run I did last weekend, I've done it 4 times in training maybe. I run 6 miles up to a high place, and then I start doing, 10K down the hill. So I run a lot of downhills. I haven't run a ton of uphills. I have run some. I still do some hill sprints here and there. But every time at the end of the run, it's like my legs are so fatigued, and I'm just thinking, I haven't quite hit the elevation of Boston. I was like, this is going to be, I think I'm respecting the hills of Boston. I know some people are like, yeah, whatever, they're hills, but you're fine, whatever. I'm like, Jen Piazza's in here, and she says, I'm in peak week, and tomorrow I have 14 miles with 10 at goal Boston Marathon pace. I also have a 20-miler on Saturday. It's big time, Jen. What is the goal for Boston? And is that a different goal marathon pace than your normal marathon pace? And how many miles are you running this week? It's a lot. Sounds good. JBS is in here. He says, really good. His running's going good. Intervals and the Saucony Elite 2 today. Really worked well for me. One more long run, 22 miles steady, and then my taper proper. Okay, hitting that 14-day taper. That's good. I think I've got 20. Well, it's going to be around 20. It's just 2.5 hours on feet and hilly, preferably. The Saucony Elites 2. It seems like a lot of the super shoes that I've been seeing or the reviews are hit or miss. So like some people really like them. Some people are like, these don't work for me. I guess it's the stride. I know Andrew Cho had those Saucony Elite 2s also. I ran last week in the On Cloud Boom Strike, and I got a video coming out on it on Friday. I think it's a really good shoe. I don't think it's the shoe for me though. I'm not. It's very Alpha Fly 1-esque, but the Alpha Fly 1 worked for everybody because the heel was so soft. So you could be a heel striker, midfoot, forefoot. It's going to catch you and put you onto the trampoline and launch you. Very mechanical in that way, where it just like compresses. It doesn't make the noise when you run in the shoe. But the On Cloud Boom doesn't compress, but it's got a lot of foam back there, but you just bounce. It's very bouncy. And the more power you put down into that shoe, it sings what I put on Strap. The song of fire and nice. It's very good. But big dudes, I think a bigger dude or a bigger woman would put more power. Unless you are just a powerful runner, I think you're going to get a lot out of it. Or if you land forefoot, you probably enjoy it. But that's not me. And especially like in Boston, I would have to be like crushing down those downhills. That's literally what you're not supposed to do. So to make that shoe work, I think I would do the number one Boston mistake. And I'm not here for that. Andrew Chosen here. He says, got some marathon pace tomorrow, 14 miles scheduled this Saturday. I wonder if it's too much a week out. You know, that week out long run, I think it's around usually 12 to 14 miles, you know. I don't know. I guess it just depends on how you feel with your legs, the cumulative fatigue. You know, like I'm taking a little extra physical rest just for the hills because I'm going to need my legs to recover all the way back. Alex Dominguez is in here. What's up, Alex? Good afternoon. Looking forward to a nice speed workout today. Lots of 5K race pace on deck this afternoon. Well, that's very exciting. I'm glad. I hope you didn't lose your job last week for making it in. Appreciate you stopping by. Philip Watts is in here. He says, ran my final 4x800 this morning before my first 10K race in Baltimore on Saturday. Hoping for 45 minutes to 48. Ran 21:49 5K this past Saturday. Well, congratulations, Philip. That's awesome. And you're right in the heart of believing the run. Now, all I know about Baltimore is that the Baltimore Marathon is hilly. Is your 10K also hilly? So let me know. I did find out some more intel on the SATX marathon, guys. That's my A race. That's the one I signed up to be an ambassador. I don't know if I find out later if I get to be an ambassador for it and shoot some content around there. That would be really fun. The direction that they're going, though, I think is going to be like a touristy. Let me take you into San Antonio. Let me show you the sites. You're going to run by the Alamo. You're going to run by the Missions. And some of downtown is very flat. And there's a lot of San Antonio. It's the hill country. Kind of like Austin, it's not very flat. You could get a hilly version of that marathon and then a non-hilly version. And I was hoping, because Meb Klefsky was like in there helping design the course, that we were going to like try to compete with the Houston Marathon, which happened 6 weeks later, and just go for like the We're the flattest, fastest course. We're the Chicago of the South. But no, I think it's gonna be like destination type of marathon. Come run this one. It's gonna have some elevation. The San Antonio Rock and Roll, which existed before this marathon, was about 600 plus feet of elevation. It's kind of like your mid, gain. Not something you would want to try to PR, but it's not also New York or anything. So, all right, let's see what else is in here. Jason Horner's in here. He says, going on a family vacation next week for spring break. So I'm headed into a forced off week. Low key looking forward to it. That's how the kids use low key, right? I wouldn't know, but I would say, yeah. That's great, man. Are you going to Cancun or what? All you can eat, all you can drink. Yeah, down week's good. I didn't take a down week and I cooked myself in the fall. I took a down week and I ran 65 miles last week, 64 miles. I feel refreshed. Even after that long run, I took Monday, I did 4 miles and then I ran 6 miles with a buddy. Now, this is funny because there's this guy, Aaron. Dare I say friend? Okay. A friend, my friend Aaron. He lives right there. And my wife was always like, it's like, I love you, man. She was always trying to hook me up with her friends that were guys. You'd be like, you need a friend. It's like, I got friends. She said, no, but like friends you actually hang out with, like friends and it's like, so in one of the videos, this guy Aaron's like, oh, there's my house, right? Because I run around the neighborhood. And then it turns out, not only is he in the neighborhood, our fences connect. And he's coached by Ryan Miller from Maverick Running, the Maverick Running community. And I interviewed Ryan Miller on the channel. He's a two-time Olympic qualifier. He's won ultras, super fast guy, 214 guy. Super, super fast. And it's like small world. Anyway, he's going to be running Jersey City. He's going to be trying to break 330, 327, somewhere in there. So his easy pace is 845. And I was like, man, I need somebody to help keep me honest. He's like, hey, I'll keep you honest. You just run with me and then you'll run in your eights. And I was like, perfect. So we caught a run on Tuesday, 6 miles easy. And I thought you should know that at a 9:14 pace. And man, my legs feel so good because of that. Sometimes those forced easy runs and down weeks or where it's at. Jen Piazza's in here. She says, peaking around 62 miles this week, hoping to run an 8 to an 8:05 pace for Boston because it's a harder course. Otherwise, I would be aiming for the 750s a mile. Yeah, I want to start off in the gray zone and 3 miles and then low marathon pace for the next 3. And then like mile 6, we'll kind of see where we're at. That's the plan anyway. We'll see what happens. I get kind of caught up with the ADD, just get caught up in. That's what I'm worried about. Sean Devlin's in here. I've never found the hills to be too tough, to be honest. It's the downhills that get me, like my quads blowing up, descending down into Boston College. Just got to save those quads on the early downhills. Yeah, I am definitely worried about blowing a quad. I don't want to blow a quad or two and then think that I'm okay because I'm like, oh, I live in the Texas Hill Country. Oh, but hills, it's like interpretive, like hills in Colorado, the foothills in California. Those aren't hills to us, to me. If we're playing King of the Hill and they push you off and you die, that's a mountain. It's certified. Like that's not a hill, in my opinion. Okay, so the Texas hills are really like a little small, a lot smaller than that. So Andrew Cho's in here. He says rolling hills are tough. It just kills momentum. I'm okay with a couple big hills. Stevie76 says SATX 8-star. Rumor has it that's after Sydney. They say the states need another major in there. They only have 3. So we need to get it back to where if there's 4, then there's half, roughly the same percentage of world majors. And then, home of the Spurs. And everybody knows them. Philip Watt says that his 10K runs along the harbor for the first 3 Ks, but then 1 gradual uphill for the next kilometer to a park before going back downhill to the harbor. Nice. Eric Paramon's in here. What's up, Eric? Low key, dot, dot, dot. Yeah. High key, love that you're here. We're getting everybody, um, getting the whole Cozy Run Club in here. That we just all collectively go purchase a hoodie before they run out. And you know it's love because I have no use for a hoodie. Like all the kids wear hoodies when it's hot now, and then when it's cold, they wear the short shorts and stuff. But it's cold for 2 weeks out of the year here, so I'm not going to wear the hoodie too much, but I am as a flex to nobody. Matt Byers in here said, finally made it on. Welcome, Matt. We have not talked about the Takumi Sen at all today. So I'll find a way to try to work it in later. I haven't seen anything about the 11. I run over 100 miles in the 10 and I still haven't made a review on it. So maybe we'll try to do that. So Jason Horner says, New York City, I've been allowed one run so I can check out Central Park. Awesome. That sounds like a terrible place to vacation, but that's just my crippling anxiety talking. So that's awesome. Yeah, a run in Central Park. You could practice for the marathon for whenever you run New York City Marathon. Tax-free Bish is in here. He says, talk about House of Leaves, bro. Oh, man. Let's see where. I gotta find it first. I don't know where. There it is. Upon request. All right. House of Leaves. It took this guy like 10 years to write this thing. The most unsettling book that I have ever read. Okay, this section of the live stream we'll just call our book review. They made a movie out of this, unfortunately, and I never saw it. I don't think I'll ever bring myself to watch it. So it's like stories inside of stories, but essentially this guy finds a door in his house that opens up and it's just black, and then it's like a hallway, and then they go into it, and then when you measure it, there's a video out, a viral video where they film inside and they go outside and they film it, and you see it should not lead to anywhere. There should be nothing on the other side. And so there are layers to the story, and as you read it, you kind of feel like you're losing your mind with the characters. So it's really cool. It takes a while to build into, though. You got to go at least 100 pages in. I don't like having to break in my Super Blast 2s. I didn't like trying to break in the Boston 12. And I don't like having to go through and plow through 100 pages to get into some good stuff. But it's worth it. I was up at night reading this book, and then I went to the bathroom and I looked in the mirror and I was like, uh-oh, I'm in trouble. Anyway, he's a gimmicky writer. He did another one where it's a relationship, and on one side of the book, it starts, and the other side, on the flip side, is the girl's point of view, and it goes the other way. So there's that. Tiff's in here. She says, those aren't his books. That is correct. Those are all actually Tiff's books, because Tiff is my wife. But I will say, I can hand pick out the ones. I worked at a bookstore for a long time, so a lot of those are my books. But she reads I don't know, 150 books a year. Those are it, and if there is an expert, or at least any person who is going to be more well-read than either of us, I think it's Frank. Because every time I get on Strava, Frank is quoting a book he is currently listening to or reading. So Brendan Thompson's in here. He says, peak week for myself. First time running Boston. Easy run this AM with some strength later this afternoon. Awesome, Brendan. Well, I hope to see you out there in Boston. I don't know if you heard it earlier. We're going to hit up that Kafuzi Run Club Rabbit shakeout, and maybe believe in the run one as well. Frank says, regarding House of Leaves, it's a pretty straightforward ghost story once you're into it. Yeah, it's good. It's really good. I haven't read it since 2009 probably, but it's not one of those. One of my favorite books by the way. I promise I didn't. You eat the cover of this book, or I don't know if it was just kids or what, but I got a lot of notes in it. It's called White Noise. They also made this into a movie with the guy from Star Wars. Uh, it's about death and it's literature, but it's good. There's an incident that happens in the book called the Airborne Toxic Event, and that's where the band gets their name or whatever. But I do read that one at least once a year. But the other one I haven't read since like 2009. Now I just read. What am I reading now? The Daniels, the Running Formula, a Galloway book. I read mostly running stuff now. Kind of miss fiction. So maybe we'll go back to that. So Hugh wins in here. He says, for the track workout today, do you run by effort or hit exact pace? No need to hit the sauna after that session. No, and it's terrible because then I come home and then like I'm drenched and I stink and then I'm like waking my kids up and they're like, Dad, okay, like I'll get ready just. And I'm like, will we go quick? I mean, I gotta take them. They're like, just shower please before you take me to school. I run by effort. And when my watch beeps at me, when I hit the 1K repeat, then it tells me what the heart rate is. So I actually don't even know what my pace is. And then later I can look at it to see how consistent I was running that effort. And then I can look at the power. The heart rate usually goes up in that sort of humidity. So I can't really look at it and be like, oh, it was the same kind of heart rate every single time. But I'm really focusing on the effort. So, and then I'm reading a pace book by Matt Fitzgerald, and it's like we tend to overdo, like it's hard for our brain to like just go out and run that pace because we know the time. If we know the distance, then we know it's going to be over sooner. So we tend to go a little bit stronger than whatever effort we need to. So it takes a lot of discipline, but it's still hard. And not that that's a bad thing. I think like other, what is it, McMillan? It's like on cruise intervals, you're running a little bit faster on the faster end of your threshold anyway for those versus like a 30-minute tempo where there's no break. Pano says, recovering from last Sunday's marathon, I had a nasty fall in the last kilometer and hurt my shoulder. First race, I finished running on fumes. Second, sub 3 at 46 years old, though. Hell yeah, Panos. God, I need a bell sound. I'm not going to make that cringy noise anymore, but man, that's awesome. Well, I hope everything's all right with your shoulder. Dang. At the end. Did they get it? Did they get a photo of you crashing? That's awesome. Sub 3. Matt Byers in here. He says, interesting video this weekend in the sizing issue on the Wave Rebellion Pro 3. What is your plan for the size 9 since you said you're likely just running the 9.5s? Well, I'm not running in the Wave Rebellion Pro 3 for Boston. But if I were to run, I would run in the 9.5, just because the 9 is a little bit too tight. But also the material on that shoe isn't as stretchy. It's not like a knit upper like the Zen or so. I think that would fix a lot of it. The top of the shoe kind of encases you down. So it's like race fit upper, but then you have no wiggle room. And the shoe naturally has such a drop that your feet kind of go forward, your toes go forward into the shoe. So yeah, I would half size up for Mizuno still, except for the Zen. Ironically, it's like a half size down. Eric Paramount in here says, oh shit, we cuss here. It's fine, guys. Right? Need to see if there's any hoodies left. Yeah, me too. But I've never bought anything from Rabbit or other than the Kafuzi singlet. And I'm a discount guy. And they're like, you want 10% off? I'm like, yes, I do. Send me the code. And then they haven't sent me the code yet. And I'm like, you better send me the code. I'm not going to miss out on this hoodie. Tax-free Bish is in here. Says Johnny Truant was sponsored by Mizuno. Real. Definition. That's how you do it. You don't say the one. You just Treat it like an eye. Definition says, still not convinced I need to run any long runs over 16 miles. There's a whole school philosophy for that. I think, is it the Hansons? The Hansons put 16-mile long runs and they cap it. I don't know if that was for half marathon or just like marathon training too. But I don't know. Tax Free Bitch says Boston 12 equals the House of Leaves of shoes. Yeah, maybe the super bust. It's a good one. You definitely got to plow through it though. You got to give it a little time. But a lot of books are like that. There's another book back there, Pillars of the Earth. That one's been around. I think I read that in 1995 when I was a freshman in high school. And I don't know if that's just because I could barely read, but that one also took me it took me a while to get through the story to take off on that one. Like 100, 200 pages. Pretty epic, but it's one of those New York Times bestseller, Oprah Club books. I want to go back and read it at some point just to see if like my 15-year-old brain was just blown away by it or if it's actually any good. So let's see here. And if you got guys, I'll try to give you a warning. If you have a question about training or a question about shoes, I'm probably going to give you the wrong answer only. This is not the place to get any training advice, warning, or anything on shoes. It's just going to be like, how do I hydrate for my long runs? Milk, a pint, at least a pint every 3 miles. And that'll keep you topped off and ready to go. Let's see here. Hugh wins in here. He says, I'm excited. The Long Walk by Stephen King finally has a release date, September. My pet peeve with it is 4 miles per hour is not a brisk walk. Stephen King is probably not a runner like Murakami. Yeah, no, Stephen King, yeah, he's a max stat guy for sure because all his books are at least 1,000 pages. And they carry on. I think the last one I read by him was Under the Dome, and I don't know, it just seemed really predictable. And I'm not a person who guesses stuff that's going to happen. And then it was, and I was like, it's a lot of page. Like the fourth Harry Potter book, it's just a lot of unnecessary pages. That's like, filler episodes. I'm sure that's a thing in anime as well, from my understanding. Could have been an email. Sasuke dies, just tell me, just give me the cliff notes of it. Philip Watt says, Baltimore Marathon is way more hilly running north-south. Living in central Maryland does make hill training running easy. No such thing as flat unless you go to a track. Yeah, there's like same thing. There's a track there's middle school track by my house. We try to sneak in over there and run early before everyone wakes up. Otherwise, you're going to be running on some hills. Eric Paramont's in here, says more of a House of Pain fan myself. Tax Free Bitch says genre fiction runner channel incoming. At some point, I'll write a silly running book. Not about running. It will just involve runners. And it will be full of jokes. And it won't be serious. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be murder in it. And then it might be dark. But I think it's going to be really funny. This is going to be when the kids leave. Because I have an English degree in creative writing. I used to write screenplays. I'm a writer more than I'm an actor. I'm always a storyteller. Jokes are my favorite kind of stories to tell. So most definitely at a certain point, I will write a running book and it will be silly and I will enjoy it, but not in the next 5 years because the kids. Shannon Sides is in here. She says, hey, mid-fam, what I miss. Oh, man, you're going to have to go back and listen later, but not live, Shannon. And then you got to come to Boston and hop in the Kafusi Shakeout. So Eric says, all right, folks, good to pop in, but I need to put in one last hard leg day before gorgeous 50K Sunday after next. Cheers. All right, Eric, thanks for stopping in. Legend, legend, legend. 100 miler legend. That's just, there's just got to be like some sort of uh, icon or like that you can put next to your name if you've done and completed 50 miler, 100 miler, 100K, Leadville, whatever. Just like boom, it's just like respect. So like wrong, whatever you say is immediately right answer instead of wrong answers only. Swang's in here. He says, long time viewer, first time questions. When you first started your running journey with math, how did you find your tempo run pace, heart rate goal? So I paid attention to, I did the math formula for that 140, which happened to be roughly in that 65% of my max heart rate. But I did a max heart rate test. And I went back and I looked at all of my data to see what was the highest my max heart rate had ever gotten. And I think in my all out mile, I got to 197. I've since seen 199. It didn't really matter as long as I got close enough. And then you can look in those books and say, like, oh, threshold is 88 to 92% of your pace. Then I did a separate test where you run for 30 minutes. I forget how it goes. And then after 10 minutes, you hit the lap button and you take your average heart rate from minute 10 to minute 30. And I think it was around like 174, 175. Now, Steve Magnus will tell you that it's all gray. Like it's a scale, it's a gradient. So it's not like, boom, you're like threshold, right? Like it's just that curve kind of goes. So I have a rough thing. So for me, I know that it's roughly 173 to 180, but it stabilizes and I don't lose it. It doesn't just go up like a max effort. 9 out of 10 is going to get me to like 185, 187. But if I run like 8 out of 10, it's going to be in that 173 to 177, up towards 180 generally. But also, it doesn't matter in the heat because if it's hot and humid, it's just going to kind of gradually go up and up. So I don't, especially in race, I don't really look at it other than guardrails. So like it will beep at me if I go over like 173 or something, like where I burn matches. I don't know that analogy, burn matches, do batches even exist anymore? And does that confuse the shit out of Gen Z? They're like, burn matches, what are you talking about? Shannon Side says, I ran a 325 to a 329 with Hansen capping at 16-mile long runs, but I think you need longer when you're faster. Yeah, my belief, and I only have a level 1 RRCA certification, right? But I didn't write the science of running, is all of that endurance and all of those long runs and the mileage allows you to maintain your higher speeds for longer. And the faster you're running, the more mileage sort of required to get there. And that varies depending on your natural genetic talent, your makeup of fast twitch, slow twitch, lots of stuff. Anyway, generally speaking, yeah, like I saw the Woo broke sub 3. This guy, he's been trying to break 3 longer than I've been alive. I feel like, and it's just like, and he's missed it so many times by a handful of seconds. And he finally broke it and he made a video on it. And in his video, he talks about that. And I went and checked out his training and he's running like 40 miles a week, 45 miles a week. I'm like, dang, well, if generally, if he was running 60, 65 miles, I don't think he would have really had a big issue or cramped up later in the race or like slowed down because he's got the speed for it. So Kenneth Gallagher's in here. What's up, my man? New Braunfels Strava. Kenny here smashing some tuna for lunch and saw this pop up. What's up, man? What's up, Kenny? Oh, man. That's great. So Kenny feels me. New Braunfels is a small town. It's actually kind of big now. So when people go to the river, They always go to New Braunfels. This is where they're going. They go to the lake and they go up to New Braunfels. 15 minutes north of San Antonio. Gets all the heat and humidity that we do here. So we suffer together anytime. And I say that, but like anyone who lives in a coastal city like Corpus Christi, or even if you're like Destin, Florida, you got it worse. Trust me, I know you got it worse when you're that close to the action. So Stevie 76 says, has Coach Fox gone MIA? So he's around. I think he did run into some traveling troubles, but yeah. So he's. Oh, I'm getting a thumbs up on the thing. I don't know why that does that. Any of that stuff or balloons, but he's around. Not really like around, but he's around. I don't think he's making a bunch of content or doing whatever, but he has written my planning, which is good because when I'm in charge, I write myself marathons and training. When he's in charge, he's like, well, let's, 2.5 hours on feet's good, but usually we're in agreement with what we talked about doing an over distance long run before he went and did Osaka marathon. And then we connect with like, hey, this is what I want to do. I want to do a 3-week taper. I want to keep the foot on the intensity. I want to make sure I'm stepping on hills. And he's like, okay, writes it out, and then if he's like, well, what about this? Then, it's a collaborative effort. He's definitely my coach. Andrew Cho says Hanson 16-mile long run for the marathon. Personally, I just don't think it's enough distance if you're gonna for a time goal. I followed Hanson on my first marathon, huge cramp on mile 18. This goes back to the Galloway thing, right? So Galloway's you run walk, you should run walk, but like also you should over distance long run. But the thing with him is you still arrive at the same weekly mileage. So that's kind of dangerous because then I don't know, maybe, but you're doing smaller runs and then, a big workout here and then smaller runs and then boom, 28-mile long run. That's a lot. It's a lot of mileage, but certainly a confidence building to be like, I've done the marathon before. It doesn't scare me, and my body can handle it. So it's not going to slow me down if I've done the work. So but it can work. So Tim Trenholm agrees. He says shorter long runs can work if you're doing enough volume in the week to go into the long run on tired legs. But it's not for me. I'm a heavy mileage guy. Mileage. Hugh wins in here. Says chocolate milk after a long run marathon is the best recovery drink. Yeah, I still haven't gotten on there. I'm a number 5 from Whataburger kind of recovery guy. That's bacon. I don't do onions. Onions try to steal the show. They're a supporting actor, but they've got the lead character syndrome. They think they're Denzel in there. Onion rings, all right, okay, but on my burger, no thanks. Okay, we're not. And I'm a little hipster though, also, and my middle child's a hipster. And when he was little, so funny. He's like everything the opposite. Everything the opposite. So I was getting me a Happy Meal, and I was like, "What do you want? You want this and this?" And I told him what he wanted, and that was the problem because what I said was what he got last time. And he's like, "No, I don't want that." I was like, "What do you want?" And he knows I don't like onions. He goes, "Onions?" I said, "Yeah, okay. What else?" And he goes, "Just onions, only onions." And I was like, "Okay." So I ordered the Happy Meal. I got him a burger with just onions, and then he goes, "Get him on the side." I said, "Oh, okay." He doesn't like onions, right? So I give it to him. I swear to God, he's in first grade. He's in the back. I let him eat in the car. I'm a terrible dad, sure. And then he's in the back. He's eating. And he goes, "Hey, Dad." And he grabs the onion and he goes, "You want an onion?" And I was like, "No." And he's like, looks me right in the eye. Just starts eating the onions. Oh, man. Yeah. Anyway, that's my recovery. Along with, I just figure why not? I still do the ketone IQ when I can remember that it's there. And then I do Korea gums. So I do creatine, but they're gummies. And guys, these are the only gummies that I take. Okay. This is the only it. Sometimes vitamin gummies, only gummies. Korea gums. They have a deal. CREAGUMS. They're doing like a free bottle. So you can sample and get a free bottle if you want. So I didn't have a code. I don't make any money off that. I'm just you want creatine? I got you some creatine. Stevie 76 says best screenplay, Dumb and Dumber. Might be. I certainly know that it was not Lost in Translation. And yet, Lost in Translation won that year. Oh, what is it called when you're nepotism? What is like when the like she wins and it's like the first third generation family, Sofia Coppola, for winning a thing. It's like she didn't even write the script. In the climax of the movie, Bill Murray goes and whispers something in her ear. You don't even get to hear what they say. This is the best screenplay. Those like get out of here. I got a lot of issues with that. Certainly, Dumb and Dumber was robbed. Um, Frank says the Kafuzi Run Club Shakeout has a sign up on the Rabbit site too, so don't miss that if you want to go. Very important, very critical sign up to go. I signed up and I signed my wife up. I don't even know if she knows that. She'll run. She's gonna come. So Martha is in here. What's up, Martha? Anybody got any Brooks questions? Martha's finally here. Hi, I'm on the TM, but happy to get entertained here. TM, short for treadmill for my runner friends. Martha is Boston bound, a Boston vet. So you got any questions on Boston? Also, Martha can field those. And it won't be wrong answers only. I'm going to give you the wrong answers only, but she's going to give you that. Only fans of shoes. That's what we do here. Stevie76 says, Woo is awesome. Accent is a plus. And I think it's the accent that really holds me. It's the factor, it's like so many chances for breaking three. It's like, I just want to listen to him talk. My wife just texted me and she says, "The fuck you sign me up for that?" We cuss here. It's okay to cuss here, guys. You can dislike me or whatever. You go hit the down if you want. Um, I should have probably told you this in person, but Tiffany, I signed you up for the Kafuzi Run Club Shakeout. But to be fair, you joined me in Houston, and we did that one. So same thing. You've already done this. You don't have to run. You do whatever you want. Pano says, yes, I was so happy for the Woo. Such a nice guy. Yeah, I should run more than 35 miles a week. That guy, if he does a big block with a ton of mileage, he's going to break 250. Watch. Brenda Thompson says, I crave a large strawberry milkshake for recovery. So good. Yeah, I eat just about everything on that. I put on some weight. I like whenever I'm not running this much, I have no problem eating healthy. But anytime I get into the throes of marathon training and I just say yes, it's like all systems go. And it's good. I'm not going to worry about race weight or anything until, next fall or whatever. So Matt Byer says, got to run to another meeting. Have a great week. Thanks for stopping by, Matt. Go meetings. How's Thursday for you, Greg? Nothing like an old Greg reference. Thursday, Tuesday, schedule, garage. So these are just some of my favorite words to say with a British accent. Okay. Martha says, too many nutritionists have endorsed my initial recovery substance of kefir or yogurt as having the ideal carb protein ration. Then I go for real food. I'm not usually hungry right away anyway. Yeah, I would say anything in sight is usually what I do. Luis Becerra's in here. He says, yo, what's up, Luis? I hope your recovery from the lamb is going well. That's the Los Angeles Marathon for you guys who didn't know. Frank's here. He says, you do the ketone IQ as recovery. Yeah, sometimes I like to drink it before when I wake up, and then, or like, not before I wake up. I don't do it in my dreams, but I wake up, I drink coffee, I drink my ketone IQ. But on workout days, and then in the long runs, then after I take it after. And apparently it's supposed to be good for that. But I don't. This is wrong answers only here. So I don't go do my research. I don't know what study they did it from. I don't know whatever. It's like some guy will go on a pod That's what we call that's short for podcast, guys. I got to mansplain everything here, you know. And Martha's in here. It says Silence of the Lamb. Oh, that's so dumb. It's the best. I got a joke of the day. Ah, man, that's fantastic. So, yeah, Frank, I don't know if it's placebo, but there's enough. Speaking of books, okay, guys. Speaking of books, there's a good book called The Expectation Effect. I gotta find out the author of this one. Oh, you know what? It's 1 o'clock. So anyway, well, I don't have time to look it up. Anyway, the expectation effect. Check it out. Placebo. You could know that you are taking a placebo, then you can take the placebo and you still get an effect because your body doesn't know because you took it. In the same way, when you're saying like this interval is going to end in 200 meters, you might pick up the pace naturally because you know when the end is coming. Like it doesn't matter. You'd be like, no, stay on pace, and it's hard. So anyway, Martha says, see you at the shakeout, Andrew. Martha, I will see you at the shakeout. I'll see everybody who's going to be at the shakeout. And next week, Stevie76 says, use British curse words. I will use British curse words next week. Thanks for stopping by, guys. I hope you have a miserable run today, tomorrow, and this weekend, and it makes you a better human and a better runner because of it. Have a good day.